and welcome to the Head Student Team elections for 2019. During this assembly, I'll explain our application and voting process, especially for your Year 7s and the Year 11s who are thinking about this time next year. You'll meet the final 8 candidates and have the opportunity to reflect on the nature of leadership in preparation for voting later today to elect your Head Student Team. So firstly, a reminder that what we're looking for in a Head Student Team is 4 Year 12 students. Their term will run from now until March next year, and they will primarily work with Ms. Murchie and I on your behalf. The Head Student Team's most important role is in leading student voice on all aspects of learning in and out of the classroom. The Head Students are also responsible for sharing student voice clearly with the school community. And each Head Student will propose a project that they would like to work on over the next year to improve the experience of you students at West Island. Furthermore, the Head Students will represent the views of the student body to the school council and the school leadership team. They represent West Island at ESF Centre, and they ensure that all whole school events are effective in conveying the school's values. So you're aware of the steps taken by these candidates to bring them to this point. I'll just explain the application process which has brought these amazing 8 young people up here today. So firstly, all Year 12 students were invited to submit an application letter outlining their suitability and vision for the role of Head Student. From these, the Post-16 G&A team selected a long list of 16 candidates. Those 16 candidates then took part in a fishbowl activity, which was devised by our outgoing Head Student team. And during this activity, the candidates were asked to respond to questions raised by our most recent student voice session and create an action plan for how they would address the topics that were raised. We were really looking at how well they responded to student voice, which is such an important part of the role, and also how they came up with concrete suggestions in a team. Following the fishbowl, all 16 candidates were interviewed by Mr. Salmons, which, together with the outgoing Head Students' feedback, helped us to select the final 8 candidates which you see here today, and I'll introduce them a little bit later. Once the finalists had been selected, the Year 11 student leaders, Brian, Pearl and Sophia, sat down with the candidates to get a sense of them as people, and you'll see those interviews a little later on to help you make your choice for Head Student. Finally, instead of speeches, the Head Student candidates will be responding to questions submitted by you to ensure that they're really showing you the kind of leaders they'll be on your behalf. The final Head Student team will be selected by 100% community vote. You'll be emailed a Google form at the end of this assembly, and you'll have until next Friday to cast your vote. The results will be announced on the 4th of March with the official handover at the awards assembly later this term. We'll now watch a short clip just illustrating the selection process up to this point. So what we're looking for in a really great letter is information about the kinds of experiences that you've had, the skills that you've gained or developed from that experience, and how you think those skills can be applied to the role that you're looking to fill.
I look at all of the different activities, the creativity, activity and service that you've done over the years at the school.
So we're really looking for a sense of personality, a sense of who you are.
I think it's really important that we see that you've been a positive role model and that you've been motivated and involved in the school throughout the years.
So I feel like if we have like a board that we can put like somewhere in the school,
more like reflection and everything, instead of having to like think with tedious like choice or write everything.
I think that has to be a focus, that new students are made more aware, because I feel like if the whole concept is well defined to them,
get some things going, but then
they get less and less.
if it's closer to them, students are not going to be bothered to go to the recycling bin. I feel, they're just going to put it in the trash can.
Can be bothered to follow them, right? There's two like distinct ones into two separate categories.
It's so much easier, and it makes them feel like, oh, I actually matter because I'm.
Like you're individual. Because like the facts are wrong.
It's like a very big adjustment from spending 3 years like studying.
To read or take photography or something is a way to relax, you know.
Like the WizHK Instagram page itself, like so many kids are following that.
Just out in the streets and stuff. And they just get a big bag, put all the recycling into one bag.
Like happy or sad, but like because you know that best yourself. Like if like we can do that for school or something, we can include like tips or like
Year 9 and Year 8 to Year 7, it's easier for them to relate to how Year 7s are coping with the atmosphere.
Super like motivating for students, I feel like. But it has to give it a significant enough discount for it to actually
Your kids and like students and stuff, and then you can have the counselors at school who talk about it. Kind of.
When you're applying for a leadership position and you turn up for the interview, make sure that you look the part, wear something really nice and smart. Make sure that you have eye contact with the person that you're speaking to. Make sure that you're prepared, know what you want to say. And remember, this is a leadership position, so we need to believe in what you're saying. Most of all, smile, be authentic, and good luck.
A good interview for a head student is somebody who knows what they want to achieve, has a sense of realism, can talk about what they want to do on behalf of other people, not for themselves, and they have a good sense of humour.
Harvard Business School says that every great billionaire has been bankrupt at least 3 times, and that means you have to learn from failure. And the people who are here in front of you have learned to do that. And sometimes, as a leader, you fail spectacularly and very publicly in front of everybody else. But what makes leaders stronger is learning what to do with that failure and coming back and having some grit and having some resilience. Edison's light bulb, the telephone, the television, even the iPhone, when they were first put forward as ideas, were scorned at as things that could never, ever work. But the people behind those inventions had a real insight to what application they might have in the future. A leader comes into a room and says to a group of people, not what can I do for you? They say, what is actually happening here? What are the talents and what are the strengths, and how can we work on that together? But a leader sometimes puts a ladder against the wall and climbs up the ladder and just has a look at what might be coming on the horizon and just double checks that everybody's going in the right direction. A leader sometimes is referred to as a lone nut. Somebody with a really wacky idea that everybody looks at and says, that's never going to work, like the light bulb, like the television, like the iPhone. And a leader is passionate about that thing that they think just may make a difference, and they keep on about it. But a leader is not a leader until they get a follower. Just can't exist. And what's really important is that your first follower is the person that's going to change things on your behalf. And a really good leader meets that first follower as an equal and doesn't try and dominate, but tries to share and influence the ideas they have. And all of a sudden, the lone nut is no longer alone. The first follower is really important, because once you have a first follower, then a second follower will come, and then a third follower will come. And then slowly, you'll have a small group of people who just might believe in something that you have to offer. And if you can do more of the things that you want to do and use the people in that small group, you'll attract others. And before you know it, you've got a movement. And now you've got momentum. And people will carry your message, and they will adapt the message to suit themselves. And the thing that you had some vision about, or the thing that you thought was the right direction to go in, will no longer be risky for anybody else, because everybody will want to get involved. I really want to commend everybody here, and I also want to commend all of the people that applied for the head student but haven't made it through to this last round. Some have gone further than others, not because they weren't capable, but just because there were some things that made the small differences. And that also is about learning. The people who are presenting to you today have courage, they have humility, and they are hard workers. I wish them well, and I commend them to you.
Thank you, Mr. Salmons. And now I'd like to invite 4 of our final candidates up to the microphones for the first round of the debate. Please welcome Anthony Aldcroft, Amanda Nathan, Chi-Chun Chan, and Natasha Tate. Okay. A number of you wanted to know more about the head student candidates. Anthony, the first question is for you. How do you personally embrace the school's values?
You all know what the 5 C's are. Usually I don't like talking about myself, but to answer the question, I'd like to say how I embrace them. I believe I've shown commitment. That's through being form rep from year 7 to 11, as well as representing the school in swimming, rowing, and other activities. I remember even on days I didn't want to train, I made myself want to. And I think that's commitment. At West Island, I'm so thankful to be part of a different community, whether it's through running indoor rowing club, playing basketball with ESF Tigers, or co-leading the Interact Club. I think because of these experiences, I've developed a strong desire to help others. That's why I want to be head student. I'd like to say that I've embraced compassion similarly in my consideration for others, whether that's through helping students learn English in Interact Club, or Thailand Community Service, or street sleepers, beach cleanups, caring for Cambodia, Club Scientifica, Transition Leader, and more. Finally, courage, which I know I've had difficulty in mustering before, but I now realize that at times it's not just for my benefit, but for others too. That's why I tell myself to get up. That's getting up after falling down the auditorium stairs in front of everyone on my first day of school. Yeah, that was me. Or getting up in front of hundreds of competitors on the diving block. These opportunities we've been blessed with have led us to embrace these values, and I can't thank the teachers, support staff, and students enough for shaping who I am today. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. Tash, I'm going to ask you the same question. How do you personally embrace the school's values?
Well, our school has lots of values, and at the root of them all are the 5 C's. Every day we're surrounded by reminders of these. Whether it's the big posters on the wall or seeing them reflected in our friends, there's so many people at our school that embrace these values, and I'd like to think that I might be one of them. Our school has an incredible sense of community. It's an incredibly supportive place, and everyone fits in. Whether it's for your dynasty, your friends, or just your classmates, the support and encouragement you find at West Island is so important. This year for Horizons Week, I went on Year 7 camp and acted as a student leader. I learned how important consideration and compassion are when working in teams. This experience was challenging but so much fun, and I've really changed my view of leadership. I realised how important empathy, commitment, and compromise are when working with others. Overall, I think the 5 C's are something that I like to incorporate into everything that I do, and I try to do the best that I can. Even if I'm not the best at something, through these values, I try to do my best.
Okay, a really important question here. How can the school be more sustainable? Amanda, this question goes first to you.
Well, every day I walk by the school's giant poster of the UN Sustainable Development Goals that they wish to meet by 2030. And I thought to myself, 2030 is only 11 years away. Will we all have accomplished everything we set out to do? From working with the Feeding Hong Kong organization, I want to find ways to reduce food and plastic waste at our school. And I think it's amazing that our school already has its very own composter. But what about reducing the perfectly good food that doesn't need to go into the composter in the first place? I think there's a problem in the portions we're being served at our school. A lot of the times, me and my friends find that we can't always finish the portions we're being served because of the imbalance. So one of the suggestions I might propose is that maybe we can reduce the rice we're being served. And this isn't to say to everyone who loves rice, you can't have your plentiful. You can. We just have to find better ways that we can enjoy our food without accumulating our wastage of food. And on to plastic, I think it's hard, but I think together we can really make a difference. I know it's hard to bring in your own utensils, but if we rally together as a unified community, we can make a change for our school and for the wider world. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda. Chi, I'm going to ask you the same question. How can the school be more sustainable?
So I personally believe that our school already covers many of the sustainability goals that are in the world, like the UN sustainability goals. And I feel like we have a lot of great CAS activities that cover things like Feeding Hong Kong, Eco-Wish, Street Sleepers, that cover problems like zero hunger and poverty, while we also have great events like Shark Week and Pride Week, which cover things like equality and life in the ocean and life on the land. But I think as a school, we can improve on 3 factors to increase our sustainability to the world. And that's food waste, plastic waste, and most importantly to me, energy waste. Because right now, we've incorporated digitalization into our lives and into our education, and we all have laptops and we all have phones, and we always charge them and use electricity up. So I personally believe we should make a change to reduce our electricity wastage so that we can be more sustainable to the school. Whether that's changing our light bulbs to LED or fluorescence, or to manage our air conditioning system better, we can all make a change as a school and as a student body to reduce electricity waste. Thank you.
Thanks, Chi. For the second round of questions, I will ask you to hold your applause until the end because we have a lot of questions to get through. So a really important question now connected to student well-being. And Tash, we're going to go back to you. How important do you believe well-being is for students?
Well-being has many meanings, but to me it is simply about being happy and fulfilled in your experiences in life. I think our school really prioritises well-being already. Having a healthy mind and a healthy body are essential to well-being. And with an abundance of sporting activities that allow you to stay healthy, and great practices like mindfulness and yoga that allow you to sustain a healthy mind, our school really values well-being. And so do I. To me, well-being is a top priority. We all have stress, whether you're year 7, a year 13, or a teacher. There are so many stresses in our lives, so it's so important to find ways of dealing with this. The best thing I do is finding things that I enjoy. Whether it's sport, art, music, drama, science, find things you enjoy and stick to them. Our community of West Island, like I said, is incredibly supportive, and so be unafraid to ask for help. Whether it's asking a question in class or for directions on stairs, don't be afraid to ask for help because it's what you need, and people will support you. Overall, I think that well-being is incredibly important because it's something that all of us can relate to, that all of us have to deal with. And so if I were to be on the next head student team, I would like to make this a top priority for West Island and work with everyone in the school community to improve this.
Thank you, Tash. Please hold the applause till the end. I know these are great answers, but please hold the applause until the end. And now, Anthony, how important is well-being for students?
Okay. To me, student well-being is the health of a student, mentally, physically, and emotionally. I know you might see well-being as unnecessary to talk about, but just because we don't experience or see those struggling doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. Though I'm sure you all know how important well-being is, we still find ourselves being worried about what others will think, whether we show any sign of care. I'll never be able to understand everyone's individual difficulties, nor will I know the pain that people will have to put up with sometimes, but I promise I'm willing to sit with anyone and listen to whatever they have to say, because I know just how much of a difference it can make to have someone there. Just under 2 years ago, I lost my mum, and I can't imagine how I would have coped with it if it weren't for the support I had from friends, families, and teachers. It was all the little things they did, such as asking how I was, inviting me out for meals, or listening to me whenever I needed. The warmth I felt through their care, that was what helped me through. I don't want anyone to have to shoulder the pain by themselves. So let's all ignore our pride for once and try to be more aware of not only ourselves, but those around us, especially those who you think deserve it the least, because in actuality, they need it the most. That's how important well-being deserves to be.
Thank you, Anthony. The final question for this group of candidates is, what one change do you think you can make to the school? Chi, if you could change one thing about West Island, what would it be?
So for a change I would like to bring is to increase our appreciation towards each other, and that's done through appreciation culture. Appreciation culture is simply just to be grateful to the people around you. And I think our school has already been trying to implement this idea into our school for years now, as from the letters that you send to your teachers or your friends, or even the gratitude trees that hang outside the science corridors. We can all be more grateful to each other because that will increase all our well-being and positivity. And I think that our ways now are very good for select individuals, but everyone has their unique way of getting or being happy. And I think I have many friends that benefit from meditation or watching the videos on how to reduce stress, but I know other people who simply just enjoy to go on a run or just to listen to music. And well-being and being happy is different for everyone. And I want to introduce appreciation culture because I feel like that everyone should be more grateful to each other, and to do this I want to introduce a digital system where we can all write anonymous messages, or even, you don't have to be anonymous, but to thank the people around you. And it could be for anyone. It could be for the students to thank each other, or it could be even for teachers to thank each other, whether it's being them helping each other mark the piles and piles of assessments, or giving tips on classes. They can do all that, and most importantly, the working staff that we can all thank, that keep our school clean and hygienic.
Thank you, Chi. Losing battle. And finally, Amanda, if you could change one thing about West Island, what would it be?
I think that we can all admit that West Island is a great school. And when I say a great school, I mean an amazing school, full of individuality and creative thinkers. But with any school, I think there can be room for improvement, so then we can all be the best that we can be. One of the issues that I think needs more reconsideration is student voice. And I know that it's kind of tedious to fill out forms, and you may not think that you have any great big ideas, but I promise you that everyone has something to say, and that student voice needs more relevance and recognition so everyone can have a say. And it helps us, and it's the potential of student learning that helps us shape the environment of learning that we all can thrive in. One of the ways I suggest we do this is perhaps raise more awareness for the student council discussions. Not much is known as what goes on inside, and the ideas and issues that are being discussed, and the ideas and issues being discussed are from students. If we have more awareness, every student can feel like their voice is being heard. My suggestion to do this is implementing it into West Island's social media platform. I bet a bunch of people in this room use social media on a daily basis, myself included. So if we can have weekly or monthly updates about what is going on in these meetings from head students and people on the student council, then I think that we can all create a better community for ourselves so that we can all be the best that we can be. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda. So a round of applause for all these 4 candidates and their excellent answers to your questions. And now I'd like to show you what happened when all the final 8 head student candidates sat down with the Year 11 student leaders, Brian, Pearl, and Sophia.
What is your best personality trait and why?
I would say that my best personality trait is being really resilient, because even though I had a lot of setbacks over the years, I always find that I can bounce back and always try and learn from the experience and do better next time.
I'd like to say my best personality trait is my ability to empathize. Through good and bad experiences, I always find myself being able to understand.
I'm very caring towards my peers and to my fellow students. I think that
my best trait is that I always like look out for them, even if it's the smallest detail. I'm able to notice if something is wrong or if I'm able to help them.
It's probably that I'm dedicated. I commit to things and I like to see things through and do them to the best of my ability. And so I think that's always helped me with anything that I do.
What's your favorite memory at this school?
I have a lot of great memories at this school, but I'd say that my most recent one was actually during sports day, because even though I'm not actually a runner, but I had to run in the relay with a bunch of my friends, and we won at the end. And I just really felt great being part of a team and hearing everyone cheering in the stands for us. It was just a really great experience.
I've had so many great memories, but a recent one that I'm really happy to share is in Thailand Community Service. I was fortunate enough to have the opportunity to go with friends to Thomas House, a special needs school, where we together played and interacted with the kids there, and just to physically see them smile really was heart-touching, and for that reason I feel like I've been opened my eyes, and I just want to use the best of my privileges to help any way I can.
Although I've had a lot of great Horizons Week, like my most recent Thailand Community Service, where I bonded with the Year 9s, but my best memory of the school is probably my Horizons Week trip Vietnam service, where I did hours and hours of concrete mixing, and we made this huge playground for a school. That felt really rewarding to me, and I made a lot of new friends in the upper years and the lower years.
Year 7 camp, when we had this huge water balloon fight, and I caught a balloon on top of a bunch of Year 7's heads and it exploded all over them. And yeah, that was quite funny.
And could you tell me about your proudest moment at West Island?
I would say my proudest moment is before I was a creative director for Ethos, and now I'm editor-in-chief, but getting my first issue done and all that hard work, months of preparation to show it to the school, I felt really proud of all that I've accomplished and what I can do in the future.
I think a moment I can take pride in is also on Thailand Community Service, where we all bonded in our group, and at first we were all socially disconnected, but by the end of it we really felt like a true family. And even winning the talent show at the end, that was really just icing on the cake.
My proudest moment would be my interdynasty food drive, the rice race that me and Amanda and Nathan, we did together, and we worked with our team and with outside charities to make this huge event possible, and we raised 2 tons of rice in total, which was I felt really proud of because we were able to feed a lot of people who needed it.
My proudest moment has been recording and releasing music, because for a long time I've worked with a lot of different people performing and things, but to actually compose something and then put it out there, it was kind of scary, but it's gone down quite well and I'm quite proud of that.
And if you had to use 3 words to describe yourself, what would they be?
I would say, again, I'm resilient, approachable, and hopefully friendly.
Empathic, hardworking, and driven.
I'd say driven, methodical, and motivated.
Motivated, considerate, and committed.
What's your best personality trait and why?
I think my best personality trait would have to be I'm a good communicator. I love talking to people, discussing ideas, and the whole process of developing that.
I think I'm pretty motivated, so when I set my mind to do something, I want to do it well, and I want to make sure that I'm not only talking the talk, but also walk the walk.
I think I'm very persistent, right? It doesn't matter whether I enjoy doing something or I find it quite challenging, I'll stick at it. And I think that's quite important, and it's important to me as well.
I think I'm quite real, So I treat people the same. I'm kind of the same to all of my friends, and I'm always the same person with the same personality. And I also feel like I'm honest, real and honest, because I really want to see people do well.
What's your most memorable moment at Wiz?
I think my favorite memory of West Island would have to have been the Horizons Weeks. I've really enjoyed Thailand Community Service to building a music room in Mongolia. I've really enjoyed those times.
My favorite memory is winning Best Upper School Band in Star Search. That was really cool, like taking your hobby into something that encourages a school community. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So, my tutor group, we performed Baby Shark in front of, at Star Search in front of the whole school. And we complained a lot. At first we thought it was a joke, but we went through with it. And we complained a lot, but it ended up being actually quite fun, so yeah.
Probably be getting my GCSE results back. Just looking back at it, I was so stressed out, and having those results come back to me is just reliving all the hard work that I put into it. And it was just a good moment. It was a sigh of relief, and it was a new chapter in my life, and it was a stepping stone into IB, so it was good.
What is your proudest moment?
I think my proudest moment would have to be being part of the 24-hour race and raising the money to fight human trafficking and being up there on the peak with all the other schools.
My proudest moment was probably leading the volleyball, which had over 350 students. So it was a lot of weight on my shoulders, but it turned out really good, and I'm really proud of it. Yeah.
I think my proudest moment is making it onto the Hong Kong national team for roller hockey. It was something that I worked for a number of years, and I was very proud to see it happen. I feel rewarded for it, obviously. So.
This year is winning 3 golf tournaments in a row. I worked very, very hard, and I just was able to push through. And I feel like with all the hard work that I put into it, I just feel so proud, and it's almost like all that hard work paid off, and it's just, it's good motivation.
And if you had to describe yourself in 3 words, what would they be?
I think I'm quite calm, passionate, and really resilient.
I think I'm pretty sociable, sincere, and strong-minded.
I think ambitious, resilient, but also genuine.
Head student material.
All right, next up, we have our second group of finalists in the second round of the debate. Please welcome Simran Anand, Ty Williams, and Harshal Singh. You'll notice that there's an empty microphone. Unfortunately, Ginny Ding can't be with us today as she's hosting and competing in a national golf tournament. But you will see her answers to the debate questions filmed in a little bit. So, our first question for this group is about improving connections and goes to you, Harshal. How could you improve social relations between pre- and post-16?
Looking at the crowd of us gathered here today, it's understandable how making connections outside of one's dynasty, subjects, or your group can be challenging. But I'm sure many of you, along with myself, have seen firsthand how whole school events have united all of West Island. However, I think that there's not much opportunity to break the ice. One way in which we can solve that would be by pairing up tutor groups of different years at the start of term 1. This would provide a chance for both parties to get to know each other, and students would have that time to interact outside of the year and possibly gain advice in the process. Tutor periods could be spread out throughout the year to further develop these connections. I've chosen this solution because it expands the pool of people that you would ordinarily interact with. I remember coming to West Island as a year 7, scared being in such a big school with so many students and people from different years. That seemed so mysterious, but I just built this picture up in my head, and I think connecting tutor groups would be a great way to have relationships and interactions that transcend years. Thank you.
Thank you, Harshal. Another possibly fruitless request, but if we could leave the applause to the end, that would be really appreciated. The same question goes to you, Simran. How could you improve social relations between pre and post-16?
The way I would like to improve social relationships between post-16 and pre-16 is by introducing a vertical integration scheme. Trust me, I've been in year 7, so I know how scary post-16 students look, but we're not all that bad. At least some of us are. So once a month, the 5th period slot can be used, the one on Monday, can be used as an opportunity for us to engage in team building and social skill exercises. This not only helps us build our communication and confidence skills when talking to people that aren't the same age as us, but also helps us be more motivated to work together better in projects such as service trips during Horizons Week. So random teams of students will be put together into a group, and the hour for that period would be consisted of 10 minutes of team bonding to get to know your peers, and then 50 minutes of problem-solving interactive tasks, like escape rooms or quizzes. Team bonding not only helps us understand the strengths, weaknesses, and interests of our peers, but it also opens our eyes onto how we can unite together as a community. Post-16 and pre-16 should be working together in harmony, not scared of each other. Thank you.
Thanks, Over to Ty now to tell us how you would improve the programs we already have rather than introducing new initiatives.
At West Island, we have a huge amount of CAS activities that cover a whole range of different interests, so there's something for everyone. However, I feel like the sign-up system on Gateway can be improved to make it easier for students to use and also give students a clearer idea of what an activity would involve. Right now, the only information given to us is a short description that doesn't fully cover the entirety of what an activity would involve. Especially for Year 7 students and new students as well, it can lead to people getting confused because they don't know what activities we offer. So I would propose that alongside these short descriptions, we could include photographs and videos of the activity, as well as a short section where students who have already participated in the activity could write a short piece detailing their time there. This would help give students a clearer and a more realistic view of what an activity would actually entail. We have so many incredible CAS experiences at West Island School. I just hope that increasing visibility would improve the amount, would help students find out about and participate in more activities. When I was writing this, I actually decided to just have a look and see how many CAS activities we actually have, and it came to a grand total of 107 activities. I mean, that's insane, 107. I just hope that with the implementation of this idea, it would make it easier for students to do what they enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you, Ty. Simran, this question also for you. How would you improve the programs we already have rather than introducing new initiatives?
Well, West Island already has several programs that help shape us into well-rounded and diverse students. From Horizons Week to one-to-one, our school has it all. Our school also has an amazing student voice platform. One forum also exists on Wisdom, but this forum hasn't been used since 2012, so I'm guessing a lot of you didn't even know it existed. But don't worry, as head student, I promise to make this much more accessible. To make this accessible, I want to introduce a prompt question on the bulletin every Monday. So every morning of that week, tutors can discuss this in class. Even if it's just for 30 seconds, it's better for us to have these conversations instead of saying nothing at all. Then on Friday, a dynasty representative could upload a short overview identifying the school's problems and possible solutions. Even if it's just one sentence, you matter, your voice matters, your opinions matter. So this forum can help inspire us. We want to take charge of our education and the environment we learn in. Thank you.
Thank you, Simran. This next question is for you, Harshal. How can we celebrate different cultures at West Island School?
West Island is a diverse community, home to a melting pot of different cultures from all around the world. Some of these events are put on display through the volleyball and cultural week. However, there's so much more that can be done to celebrate our student community's unique cultural identity. How many days in a year have one festival or a famous day? That number is bound to be high. Because of that, there are bound to be events that may be culturally significant that go by less noticed, such as Independence Days or Thanksgiving. I'd like to propose the introduction of a cultural committee to raise awareness and add to the Culture Week. This committee would be able to organize events, coordinate with Circle in the Water to bring about performances. It would distribute information to tutor groups and coordinate with charters to set up culturally themed venues, adding to our school's awareness of different cultures. We, the students, would have the opportunity to share our cultural experiences with one another and become more informed about the world. This celebration of diversity can be extended into the classroom. Learning for Life can highlight these events and tell us the importance of what culture is and what it means to us as individuals. Subject teachers can incorporate these days into their teaching, and this exposure is bound to make us better global citizens. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. And a really interesting question to you now, Ty. What differentiates you from the other candidates? Why should people vote for you?
So I just want to say that whether you vote for me or not, I'm pretty sure the 4 head students you end up with after today will do their absolute best to build on the foundations their predecessors have already set. I would, however, like to be part of the next head student team, so I just want to talk about what I would bring to the table and hopefully get your support. So something that I think is really important for a head student to have is our problem-solving skills. A major part of the role consists of coming up with solutions for problems that we, as a student body, are facing. I believe I've developed the skill set necessary for this, as I was recently recognized by the Cambridge Board of Examinations for my achievements in their critical thinking course I took last year. I believe that I can transfer what I've learned onto the role of head student in order to make your school life easier and more fun. I also believe that some of the skills I've learned from sport would be useful for the role. I've been playing roller hockey for about 10 years now, and at a national level for about 4. Competing at this level has taught me about the value of persistence and dedication, as well as cooperation and communication skills within a team. These work together to help foster collaboration and can be important when working with 3 other head students who all have different ideas that they want to contribute. Plus, I think I'm pretty friendly and approachable, and I don't take myself too seriously, which I think is important, because a head student should be representative of an entire community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ty. And now we'll show Ginny's responses to this debate.
Okay, first question for you, Ginny. How can we celebrate different cultures at West Island School?
I think a good way to celebrate different cultures in West Island School is through food, through cultural food. The school fair already does a great job in incorporating homemade food from different countries that are brought to school for everyone to enjoy. But I think taking that step further and bringing it into school life can make us so aware of the diversity that lives so vibrantly in West Island. And this can be accomplished by hosting food festivals like once a month or once a term, where students can bring in their own cultural food made freshly at home. Another way to celebrate diversity in West Island, I think, is to host culture days, where students can come in cultural clothing or bring a piece of their own background to school for everyone to enjoy. We can all agree we all love food and dressing up, and these ideas are just fun and simple to do, and just makes us become more respectful towards another and understand our peers beyond that surface level.
Thank you. Really interesting question now. What differentiates you from the other candidates? Why should we vote for you?
I think my project, an idea that if I were head student, I'd want to initiate is really the thing that differentiates me the most from the other candidates. My vision revolves around sports and working with the careers team to really try to improve their program with giving support to aspiring college athletes. And I think you should vote for me because I'm truly so passionate about sports. I want to give back and give support to the other students looking to take their passion to another level all throughout their school life. And for students who want to reach their full potential, it's our responsibility to give it to them. Additionally, even if you only have a minor interest in it, it's still good to understand the basic structure of college recruitment. And all in all, I just want more emphasis on putting sports into the whole picture as a choice that students can consider to pursue. And if you vote for me, you'll have more choice and more freedom. And I think that's the best thing that anyone could ever ask for when it comes to pursuing their passion.
Fantastic, thank you.
Thank you.
Assembly, I'm going to pass over to the outgoing head student team for some final words from them.
First of all, I'd like to congratulate all of the candidates. What you did was not easy, and you all did incredibly, so well done. I'm sure I speak for all 4 of us outgoing head students when I say it doesn't seem like that long ago that we were the ones standing there, hands shaking, hearts beating out of our chests, but I assure you it was all worth it. This past year has been crazy busy, and I've enjoyed every second of it. From attending ESF student council meetings to interviewing new vice principal candidates to promoting sustainable use of plastic around the school. All of my experiences as head student have in some way taught me something new. First of all, change takes time, but it does happen, just not as drastically as we initially may expect. It takes a lot of people and a lot of effort to get anything done on a large scale, so even the smallest of victories should be celebrated. Number 2, don't stress too much. Of course, stress can be a great motivator, but don't forget to enjoy the experience, otherwise, what's the point? And number 3, this applies to the role of head student and also just kind of life in general. You get as much out of it as you put in. There's nothing more rewarding than stepping back after some seriously hard work and going, wow, look, I did that. So I certainly learned a lot more than just those 3 things, but I'm kind of running out of time, so I'll finish with this. I'm so thankful that I've had this opportunity as being head student, and I wish all of the candidates luck. Thank you.
Following on from Harriet, I also agree that the role has benefited us all, making head student a very rewarding experience. But I can honestly say that the best part about it was working alongside these 3 students. Although some of us are quite different in different respects, which would have caused conflicts within the group, we were able to play off each other's differences and use everyone's strengths to our advantage. I've been able to learn something valuable off each and every one of them. A combination of Harriet's brain, Sean's creativity, and Ali's sense of humor has meant that there has never been a dull moment, which is something I'm very thankful for. I feel so lucky to have had the opportunity to work alongside a group of students with such charisma and enthusiasm. We have been able to put a positive spin on everything, which has made our experience extremely worthwhile. I've learned what it feels like to be part of a dynamic team, and for that I am extremely grateful. I will really miss working alongside these wonderful students. It has been a very valuable experience, and I'm very thankful that I got to be a part of it. It has been an absolute pleasure to work with staff members, these 3 head students, and the whole West Island community. I wish for the incoming team to experience the same. Thank you.
Congratulations to the 7 candidates up on stage today, including Ginny on the screen, for all their efforts made to reach to the final stage, and for their bravery they showed to face a daunting head student selection process. Secondly, I'd like to give you all some advice on how to select your preferred candidates for the voting process. I believe that the voting procedure is often thought to be a popularity contest, although in reality it isn't and it shouldn't be. The candidates that have spoken today have all earned their place on this stage, and each one of them is more than capable of stepping up to the head student role. Even though their skills and personalities might vary immensely, I truly believe that they all have what it takes to thrive in the position. When you're making your selections, ask yourself what the head student really means to you personally, and select the candidates that you believe best fit this definition, not just the one that plays in the same rugby team as you. If you're still unsure on who to vote for, you can rewatch the live stream of debate on YouTube later on. Finally, I'd like everyone here to understand the work put in to reach this stage. They are the final 8 out of an initial 37 applicants, so please respect and encourage them, because it wasn't an easy task. Wish them the best of luck for the future. Thank you.
Okay, so I'd like to finish off these speeches by speaking about opportunity. I've been privileged, lucky, and fortunate enough to have been a member of this team. The role of head student presents a massive array of responsibilities, challenges, and tasks, among many other things, and each of these things presents an opportunity. It can be an instance to repay the faith placed in us, to learn and improve our skill set, or to contribute to the school in ways we have may never thought. The list goes on. To get an opportunity is great, but to use one is even better. For example, in performing our role, we utilize skills to the best of our ability by playing to each other's strengths and managing each other's weaknesses. This was the foundation which allowed us to be a cohesive unit throughout the year. To the new team, I really hope you use the opportunity to the best of your abilities. To close, I'd just like to say thank you to a couple of notable groups of people. Firstly, thank you once again to the team who have been by my side and a joy to work with. Secondly, thank you to the senior leadership team who have guided us throughout. And last but not least, a thank you to each and every one of you for having a faith in us to represent you. It's been an honor and a pleasure. Thank you.
And now it's over to you. Straight after this assembly, you'll be emailed a Google form which you can use to vote for your head student team, and you'll have until next Friday to cast your vote. To finish up, I'm just going to pass back to Mr. Salmons to talk to you briefly.